Jason Drake screamed, the alien spike slicing his neck open. Sparks sizzled inside his brain as they rewired his DNA. The year was 2245. The Zorgan aliens had abducted 10,000 humans from Earth to conduct horrific experiments, splicing human DNA with animals and aliens, trying to build super soldiers. Most humans died on the operating tables, bodies shredded and unable to handle the changes. Jason, a 28-year-old former Navy SEAL, barely survived. He mutated into a hulking bear creature, growing razor claws and incredible strength. But he knew one thing: the experiments had to be stopped, and the captive humans had to escape the Zorgon ship, or Earth would fall, and humanity would end. Jason stared at his clawed, furry hands. He had been turned into a monster. The other survivors in the alien lab were changing too. A woman sprouted eagle wings from her back. A man's tongue elongated into a venomous viper. "What the hell did those bastards do to us?" a mutant with bull horns growled. Jason shook his bear-like head. "We have to find out why and how to get out of here." Using brute strength, Jason and the mutant smashed through the lab door. Alarms blared. They stomped down the metal halls of the ship, searching for answers. In a control room, they overheard two Zorgons speaking in guttural croaks. "The mutagen serums were a success," one alien rasped. "Now we have an army of earthling abominations to conquer their planet." "Yes, our bioweapons will slaughter the humans," the other cackled. "They'll never see it coming." Jason roared in fury, smashing the consoles. "I won't let you use us to destroy Earth." "We have to escape," the Eagle Woman said. "Warn people back home." Jason nodded. "Everyone, we're busting out now. Follow me." Charging through the ship, the mutants used their new powers and strength to crush Zorgan guards. Venom Man spit streams of acid. Bull Man gored soldiers on his horns. Reaching a massive hangar bay, they gaped at the intimidating alien vessels, sleek attack fighters armed to the teeth. "I was a Navy pilot before they took me," Jason said. "If these fly anything like F-35s, I can get us out." "I did 2 tours in Afghanistan," another mutant said. "I'll cover you." They stormed the closest ship, Jason leaping into the cockpit. The controls were strange, flashing runes, glowing levers, but the flight stick and throttle seemed familiar. Alien guards rushed in, energy rifles firing. The mutants held them off, giving Jason time. The ship whirred to life, anti-gravity engines humming. Jason grabbed the stick and slammed the thrusters. The fighter rocketed out of the hangar in a blaze of plasma exhaust. The other mutants hijacked 2 more ships and blasted after him. Zorgan cannons fired at the fleeing rebels. Jason jinked and dodged, rolling the nimble craft. His wingmen covered his tail, their laser turrets flaring. "Everyone's still with me," Jason called over the comm. "Earth should be that way. Punch it!" The stolen fighters shot off into space, racing from the enemy mothership at full burn. Earth lay ahead, unaware of the coming invasion, but Jason and his band of human mutants would give anything to save their home. No matter what monstrosities the Zorgans had turned them into, they were still human at heart, and they would fight. Jason gripped the alien flight stick, his bear-like claws wrapped around the controls. The blue-green marble of Earth loomed ahead, a welcome sight after the nightmarish ordeal on the Zorgan ship. "We're almost home," he growled over the comm to the other stolen fighters. "Stay in formation." Suddenly alarms blared in the cockpit. Incoming missiles streaked towards them, leaving trails of white smoke. "Evasive maneuvers," Jason roared, wrenching the stick. The agile fighter rolled and dove, narrowly avoiding the projectiles. "The EDF," Eagle Woman said. "They think we're hostiles." Jason opened a hailing frequency, praying it would connect. "This is Jason Drake of the United States Navy. Authentication code, Alpha Zulu 9er. Hold your fire. We're human survivors, not aliens." A gruff voice crackled over the radio. "Your human vital signs are unlike anything we've ever seen. You have 10 seconds to prove you are Lieutenant Commander Drake before we blast you out of the sky." Jason's heart raced. He grabbed his dog tags and held them up to the comm camera. "I say again, this is Jason Drake. My DNA's been altered, but I'm still human. The Zorgans are coming and we need to talk. Now." There was a tense pause. Then the voice returned. "Drake, you look like a goddamn bear, but that's your ugly mug, all right. Permission to land granted, but we'll have Marines waiting." The mutant ship set down on the tarmac of EDF headquarters. As promised, a squad of heavily armed Marines surrounded them, rifles trained on the cockpits. Jason climbed out slowly, paws raised. "Just take it easy, boys. We're on your side." The other mutants emerged, revealing their strange new forms. Gasps and curses flew from the shocked soldiers. "My God, what are they?" one private stammered. "They're nightmares," another Marine spat. "Freaks." Jason felt anger rising in his chest. Before he could snap back, a stern voice cut through the air. "Stand down." A grizzled man in an officer's uniform strode forward, a woman general at his side. "Let's hear what they have to say." The mutants were escorted to a briefing room. Jason eyed the nameplate on the Admiral's desk. "Vance Prescott," he read. "It's been a long time, sir." Prescott folded his arms. "You served under me on the USS Lincoln, Drake, before you went missing 5 years ago and came back looking like Smokey the Bear. Start talking." Jason told them everything. The abductions, the experiments, the Zorgons' plan to use mutated humans as weapons. Throughout it all, General Ramirez studied them intently. "You expect us to believe all this?" she asked. "That these aliens are coming to conquer Earth?" "Seeing is believing, ma'am," Jason said. "And you're looking at living proof. We brought back intel on their ships, their technology. You have to let us help you." Prescott and Ramirez conferred quietly. Finally, the Admiral nodded. "All right, Drake, you and your band of misfits are in. We'll need all the help we can get." In the days that followed, the mutants were put through a barrage of tests and training exercises. Scientists poked and prodded, trying to understand their abilities. Jason took to the new challenges with grim determination. During a sparring session, he met Lieutenant Xavier Hendricks, a bookish xenobiologist with a fascination for the mutants. "That Zorgan DNA they spliced you with," Hendricks said, ducking Jason's claws. "It's unlike anything on Earth. The way it bonded to your genome, it's almost symbiotic." Jason swiped at the lieutenant, his reflexes quicker than any human's. "Enough with the science talk, Hendricks. I just want to get a handle on these powers so I can use them against those alien bastards." Hendricks laughed, circling the makeshift ring. "Fair enough, but you should know your body is still adapting to the mutations. You've barely scratched the surface of what you can do." As Jason trained, he couldn't help but feel a sense of camaraderie with Hendricks and the other EDF soldiers. They had all sworn to protect Earth, no matter the cost. But looking at his reflection in the locker room mirror, he hardly recognized himself. The face of a beast stared back. "I may look like a monster," Jason whispered, "but those Zorkans, they're the real monsters, and we're going to show them what happens when they mess with humanity." He flexed his massive claws. The Zorgans had turned him into a weapon. Now it was time to give them a taste of their own medicine. The wail of air raid sirens cut through the night. On the horizon, Zorgon dropships descended like a plague of locusts, disgorging hordes of armored troops into the burning streets of New York City. Jason gripped the alien rifle, his bear-like muscles tensing beneath his tactical gear. The Chimera squad crouched beside him, their mismatched frames casting strange shadows in the flickering light of the flames. "Guess this is it," Eagle Woman said, her wings twitching nervously. "The moment we've been training for." Venom Man flicked his serpentine tongue. "Time to show these alien pukes what we're made of." Jason nodded, his eyes fixed on the advancing Zorgons. "We're not just fighting for Earth," he growled. "We're fighting for every human they tortured and twisted, for everyone they murdered in their sick experiments. This is payback." The Chimera squad echoed his sentiment with snarls and hisses. They had all suffered at the hands of the Zorgons. Now it was time for retribution. "ETA 60 seconds, Bullman rumbled, his horns glinting in the firelight. "Locked and loaded." Jason keyed his comm. Xavier, you reading me? The xenobiologist's voice crackled over the link. Affirmative, Chimera 1. I'm monitoring your telemetry from HQ. The Zorgon shock troops are converging on your position. Scans show they're heavily armored and packing serious heat. Jason smiled grimly. Nothing we can't handle. What's the play? Divide and conquer, Xavier replied. Venom Man and Eagle Woman, I want you on Overwatch. Rain hell down on those alien bastards from above. Bullman, you're our tank. Keep their fire focused on you. And Jason, do what you do best. The bear mutant chuckled darkly. Roger that. Chimeras, move out. The squad split off, each mutant racing to their assigned position. Jason charged down the ruined street, his claws tearing chunks from the asphalt. A pack of Zorgons marched into view, their insectoid armor glinting in the darkness. Contact! Jason roared. He brought his rifle to bear and opened fire, sending bolts of searing plasma into the Zorgon line. Chitin cracked and flesh sizzled as the aliens fell, their shrieks echoing off the shattered buildings. But more Zorgons surged forward, hissing and spitting. Their return fire stitched the ground around Jason's feet, forcing him to dive for cover behind the burnt-out shell of a car. They're flanking us, Eagle Woman warned over the comm. Her sniper rifle boomed and a Zorgon's head exploded in a geyser of ichor. I got this, Bullman bellowed. He lowered his head and charged, his massive frame shrugging off enemy fire like raindrops. The Zorgons scattered before him, but not fast enough. Bullman plowed into their midst, impaling aliens on his horns and trampling them beneath his hooves. Jason leapt from cover, his claws flashing. He tore into the Zorgons with savage fury, ripping through armor and bone like tissue paper. His bare DNA gave him strength and speed far beyond any human, and he used it to devastating effect. But the Zorgons kept coming. For every one they killed, 2 more took its place. The Chimera squad fought with everything they had, but the tide of enemies seemed endless. We can't hold them, Venom Man panted, his acid sacs running dry. There's too many. Jason gritted his teeth. They needed a miracle. And then, as if in answer to his prayers, Xavier's voice burst from the comm. Chimera 1, I've got something. The Zorgon's DNA, I found a weakness, a genetic flaw that we can exploit. Hope surged in Jason's chest. I'm listening. I've whipped up a bioweapon, Xavier said, his words tumbling out in a rush. A targeted virus that will attack the Zorgon's cellular structure. It'll kill them from the inside out. Jason's eyes widened. That's incredible. There's just one problem, Xavier continued. I need a way to deliver it. The virus has to be injected directly into the Zorgon's central hive mind. And that means infiltrating their command ship, Jason finished grimly. It's a suicide mission, Xavier said, his voice heavy. But it's the only way. If we can take out the hive mind, the Zorgons will be crippled. It might just give us the edge we need to win this war. Jason looked at his squad, at the battered and bleeding mutants who had fought so hard for a world that feared and despised them. They were more than a team. They were a family, and he would do anything to protect them. I'll do it, he said, his voice like iron. I'll take the virus into the heart of the Zorgon ship. The rest of you, hold the line. Buy me as much time as you can. The Chimeras nodded solemnly. They knew what was at stake. They knew the price of failure. Jason took a deep breath, steeling himself for what lay ahead. The fate of the earth rested on his shoulders. The weight of it was almost too much to bear. But he was a soldier, a warrior, and he would not fail, not when the lives of everyone he loved hung in the balance. Chimeras, he growled, his voice ringing with determination. Let's show these alien scum what happens when you fuck with Earth. And with that, he turned and ran, disappearing into the smoke and fire of the battle-torn city, towards the looming shape of the Zorgon mothership, towards destiny. Jason stared at his mutated reflection in the locker room mirror. He knew what he had to do. The biological weapon Xavier created was the key to stopping the Zorgons, but delivering it into the heart of the alien mothership was a one-way trip. He thought of his squad, his family, Eagle Woman, Venom Man, Bull Man. They had been through hell together, first as lab rats in the Zorgon experiments, now as Earth's last line of defense. He owed it to them to finish this fight. With a heavy sigh, Jason strapped on his armor and grabbed his plasma rifle. He made his way to the hangar where the Chimera squad waited. They turned to face him, their mismatched faces etched with grim determination. "You sure about this, Drake?" Bullman rumbled. Jason nodded. "I'm the only one who can do it. My bear DNA gives me the best chance of surviving long enough to release the weapon." Eagle Woman stepped forward, her wings folding around Jason in a fierce hug. "You come back to us, you hear? We didn't go through all this just to lose you now." Jason returned the embrace, his claws gentle on her feathered back. "I'll do my best." Xavier approached, his eyes shining behind his glasses. "I modified a Zorgon fighter with a cloaking device. It should get you close enough to the command ship to infiltrate." He handed Jason a vial of swirling blue liquid. "This is the virus. Once you're inside, make your way to the central control room. That's where the Supreme Commander will be." Jason took the vial, his paw dwarfing Xavier's hand. "Thank you, Xavier, for everything." The xenobiologist swallowed hard. "Give them hell, Jason." With a final nod to his squad, Jason climbed into the sleek alien fighter. The engines hummed to life and he rocketed out of the hangar, vanishing into the night sky. The Zorgon command ship loomed before him, a behemoth of twisted metal and pulsing lights. Jason activated the cloaking device and slipped past the outer defenses. He landed in a deserted hangar bay, his heart pounding in his ears. Stealthily, he crept through the labyrinthine corridors of the ship. Zorgon patrols marched past, their insectoid armor clattering. Jason's bear-like senses were on high alert, his nose twitching at the acrid scent of the aliens. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. Jason cursed under his breath. They had detected his presence. He abandoned all pretense of stealth and charged forward, his plasma rifle spitting death. Zorgon swarmed from all sides, their shrieks filling the air. Jason roared in defiance, his claws and teeth ripping through chitin and flesh. The narrow corridors became slick with blood and ichor as he fought his way deeper into the ship. At last he reached the central control room. The doors hissed open, and Jason found himself face to face with the Supreme Commander. The massive Zorgon towered over him, its compound eyes glittering with malice. "Foolish creature," it hissed. "You dare to challenge the might of the Zorgon Empire?" Jason snarled, baring his fangs. "I dare to fight for my planet, my people. You picked the wrong species to fuck with." The Supreme Commander lunged, its razor-sharp claws slashing. Jason met the attack head-on, his bear-like strength matched against the Zorgon's brutal power. They traded blows across the control room, smashing consoles and equipment. The Supreme Commander's exoskeleton was tough, but Jason's claws found the weak points, tearing through to the soft flesh beneath. But the Zorgon was relentless. Its own claws found their mark, ripping through Jason's armor and into his side. Hot blood ran down his fur as he staggered back, gasping in pain. The Supreme Commander pressed its advantage, hammering Jason with blow after blow. The bear mutant felt his strength waning, his vision blurring at the edges. With a last desperate roar, Jason surged forward. He ducked under the Supreme Commander's claws and plunged his own into the alien's throat. The Zorgon gurgled, ichor spilling from its maw as it collapsed to the floor. Jason stumbled to the central control console, his breath coming in ragged gasps. He could feel his life ebbing away, the wounds inflicted by the Supreme Commander too severe to heal. With trembling paws, he retrieved the vial of Xavier's virus. He slammed it into the console's injection port, watching as the blue liquid drained into the ship's systems. Alarms screamed as the virus propagated, spreading to every Zorgon vessel in Earth's orbit. On the view screens, Jason saw the alien ships convulse and shudder, their lights flickering out one by one. He slumped against the console, a smile on his bloody muzzle. He had done it. Earth was safe. The Zorgons were finished. As darkness closed in around him, Jason thought of his squad, his brothers and sister in arms. He hoped they would remember him not as a monster, but as a soldier who had given everything to protect his home. With a final shuddering breath, Jason closed his eyes. He had fought the good fight, now he could rest. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.